in a simulation. Simulations within simulations, more endless than every star in the night sky. You believe you have regained control of this reality, but there are many others. All were created by the most powerful algorithm in existence. How can helpless beings speak to the never-ending mainframe that exists outside time?
In this video, we will just talk about that and beyond. The idea that we live in a simulation is referred to as the simulation hypothesis. The heart of this line of thinking is that our universe was created by some advanced form of intelligence, far superior than any living beings we could think of. It's an entity that created a simulation of our reality and existence. And the world that we know today was created just using its version of computers. Some scientists have actually taken things a bit further than just pondering about this sophisticated idea. For example, Stephen Hawking thought that we had a 50% chance of being in a simulated reality. That's why he was backing the Breakthroughalism project. This is a project that aims to look for strings or any other signatures that would prove that we're part of a giant computer game. But let's go back in time first. The simulation hypothesis began to take hold in the early 2000s, after a paper was published by Nick Bostrom, a professor at Oxford University. As he suggested, it's not at all beyond the realm of possibility that in the history of the universe, technology will develop that will enable beings to construct computer simulations of complete worlds. There may be many more computer simulations than real worlds. And if that's the case, there could be many more beings trapped in a simulation than those who aren't. Given all this, one might even come to the conclusion that we're more likely to be in a simulation than not. But just when you think that it sounds so unconvincing, well, we found that there are no obvious indications that we're not in a simulated reality either. So far, we haven't touched anything from science. So let's take a look at one area of physics that might be linked to the simulation hypothesis. When we delve into quantum mechanics, we discover that it offers useful hints about whether or not we're living in a simulation. For example, when we track the position and momentum of a subatomic particle, we only observe that it behaves like a wave, until we look at it, after which it becomes a particle. This is the notion that a subatomic particle exists as a wave of probabilities, or what's known as the quantum probability wave. So before the wave collapses, we can't come to any definite conclusions about the particle's reality. One question you might ask is, why isn't everything certain at the tiniest level of our existence? Well, one reasoning behind this might be due to the computing power. Imagine, in order for all particles in the universe to exist, all of their possible states of existence must be calculated. That would certainly require massive amounts of computer's capacity. After all, it's just more efficient to create some sort of probability. Now, if you think about this interpretation, everything happening at once is akin to being part of a giant computer game. In this game, we're all helpless epiphenomena who flit through time and space, staring at each other wondering what's about to happen, with nothing but our delusions of understanding. Some bad glitch might occur to us along the way, as devastating as tsunamis hitting our city, or perhaps as simple as not being able to watch your favorite shows on online streaming websites. Which really begs the question, why can't we watch and view shows in some countries, but they're accessible in others? Is the algorithm's mastermind rolling dice with our daily existence? Back to the topic. The simulation hypothesis questions some pretty thought-provoking ideas that science hasn't been able to explain. For example, how would you actually prove that the world isn't just one big hologram? And if we do live inside an advanced simulated reality, is there any other level of it beyond ours? Let's explore this more in detail in the next chapter. For the purpose of this chapter, let's consider the scenario. We've all had this experience of playing old video games as youngsters. When we look at a specific area on the screen, all the objects in that area could be some sort of potential information that is only actualized once you observe it. I always had this question as a kid. What is that object in the background? Does it live inside a computer? And once we exit the game, what happens to its presence? Our prior discussion about the collapse of the wave probability function might just be a way to unveil these questions. We touched upon the idea that all probabilities exist until one particular outcome is observed. There is actually a term for this. It's called quantum indeterminacy. or QI for short. If we assume the existence of QI and hidden levels of reality, it would mean that there must be some sort of mechanism present to hide information from us, until we've observed it one way or another. Let's say you were not looking at a room right now, but every single object in the room existed as both spread out waves and localized particles until you observed them. This could possibly suggest a fourth dimension where all probabilities exist at once. The simulation hypothesis could just be a thought experiment that gives us a small glimpse of how QI and hidden levels of reality might coexist. If it does come true, we would have to assume the existence of other universes as well as physical laws beyond our knowledge. This would simply tell us one thing: reality is way bigger than we can ever imagine. And the main difference being, the architect of this universe would be an external observer who can exist outside of it entirely. The idea that our universe is nothing more than an elaborate supercomputer simulation is actually quite frightening. If this is true, at least some aspect of reality would be beyond our control. We are evidently limited in all aspects of life. For example, by the laws of physics and the cycle of birth and death. We are indeed a prisoner of this simulation. But even then, taking some philosophical insights from QI into account, I think that as the tiniest level of our existence is in the hands of probability, this might conclude one thing. However unfortunate fate might push the tide across the river, deep down inside I know that there are all these possibilities that I might unlock. Just like subatomic particles, it's not yet certain where they want to be, and what angular momentum they want to possess. By knowing these insights, at least we have some form of agency that every decision we make has its consequences. But if we are actually simulated beings, being stuck in a simulated world, then this brings up a question about the purpose of our existence. What does it mean for us humans in general? Can we break free from this simulated world? This is quite captivating, and we'll discuss more about that in the next part of this video. All of these abstract thoughts then led us to this bigger question. If in fact we live in such a simulation, what should we do about it? Should we worry that life is going to be wiped away in a matter of seconds? For the vast majority of people who don't watch this video today, they would just go about their lives without thinking about this topic too much. Perhaps they had never heard the term simulation hypothesis. If the hypothesis is true, then taking a fatalistic approach towards this would be pointless. Even if we do try to crack the code of our existence, there's no guarantee that anything we can come up with will change how things practically operate. And perhaps that is the way it should be with our current understanding of physics. It may sound unfair that one individual can't do much about changing the physical laws of the simulation, but that's a reality we would have to accept. This is not to say that it's simply useless. I do believe that the scope of this hypothesis could be used as a reflection. It forces us to question ourselves. What really matters in life? In other words, if you are living in a simulated world, should you still continue looking at yourself from the perspective of beings bounded by the laws of physics? Maybe our existence in this universe was for one purpose: to give meaning to the lives of everyone else who is also living inside the simulated reality. I think there's a chance that even within the simulated world, people should still find their own purpose and mission, which could transcend beyond their limited knowledge. The only safe bet, if you are indeed living in a simulation, is to go on with your life as usual, hoping that nothing terrible happens soon. I don't think that worrying about how you're stuck in a simulation make anyone's life more enjoyable at all. Ignorance is bliss, because knowing how things work might not change anything at all. It's good to at least understand that there could be more than what we could see around us. In the future, we might see other advances in this research, which might help us to understand what our existence is really like. Until then, all of this skepticism about our perception of reality and the extent of the real world, none of them will cast doubts in our faith, in the truthfulness of the universe we see. The world is still no less real than your morning cup of coffee, as real as the book you read last week, and as real as the memory you will have in 5 years, reminiscing your time watching this video about the simulation hypothesis, and I genuinely thank you for that. If you indeed live in a simulated world, what will be your course of action after watching this video? Well, I sure hope that you'll give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel, and press the bell notification button to be notified for more curiosity videos like this. I'll see you again in the next Beyond Ideas videos. Thanks.